All right. I am so excited to have on the podcast today Julie Jones. Julie is here to talk about all sorts of exciting, fun things that she's working on now and to share her vision for our collective future. And so, Julie, I'm going to let you start by just introducing yourself to our listeners. Tell us a little about who you are and what you're passionate about.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach Jess. It's so fun to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am Julie Jones. I am a certified protocol and etiquette consultant. I've been working since 2011 with professionals of all ages, but mostly the young professionals in that college to career transition, teaching them everything that their boss expects them to know, but no one teaches them. Because that is exactly what I thought we were doing when I was in the classroom. See, it was 15 years in the classroom. And I remember in the year 2010 to 2011, sitting in August in professional development, and our principal said, look, the business community is saying they're not ready. They're not ready when they come out of high school and college. So we're going to have to do more. And it was supposed to be a very motivating talk. And you could just feel the air in the room just went, ugh. Because we in education were really trying hard. We were doing everything we were told. We go in early, we stay late, we take work home. We work in the summers, we spend our own money. All the things that you hear was really happening. And so I just went home and thought, what are we missing? What are we missing? And so I started researching, and what it is soft skills. I found out companies were hiring etiquette consultants to come work with their team members and their young professionals in particular on how to behave and how to interact with people. And that's what we were missing. And so I found the Protocol School of Washington, and in July of 2011, I became a certified etiquette consultant. And in 2013, I left my job and started doing this. I did take a side gig though. I opened a plumbing company and grew it for about 7 years. But the great thing about that was everything that I was teaching these young professionals, I taught my plumbers on how to go into someone's home, how to have the conversation with somebody, how to dress, how to show up, all the things. It doesn't matter where you are. It's the interpersonal skills that make a difference in a person's success. And so I love what I do.
I love that you didn't just see a gap. You didn't just see a hole, but then you took that next step and you said,
right,
what can I personally do
mm-hmm.
to be a solution for this
right,
very apparent gap that we have, right?
right. Well, and it's funny because it happens every generation. At the time, it was the millennials. All the companies were saying, "Oh, these kids, these millennials, they're so entitled. They're so, and so we need somebody to work with them." And today it's Gen Z. Oh, these Gen Z kids, they all want to work from home in their jammies. They all want to, they don't know what to do. But if you think about it, when it was my generation coming in, we were the Gen X, right? And so we were running around the neighborhoods barefoot, drinking out of water hoses, like feral kids. Can you imagine what it was like when we came in, kicking our shoes off, running up and down the hall? And they were probably saying, these kids today. It's every generation. And the reason that we have this every few years, and it needs to be a constant reminder, is we have to scaffold and provide coaching and support for everything in life that someone needs to learn. We provide the scaffolding in the school systems by giving them you can come back and retake a test, you can turn in something late, you get lower grades. We always provide that for them. But then when they get out, it's like, okay, go build a business, go build your network, and they don't know how. Yeah. And then so they're having to learn the hard way, or do this presentation. We really want you to go out and get this new client, do this presentation. And when they lose the account, they lose the account. There's no going back for a lower grade. but what kind of scaffolding do we need to provide for our young people as they're coming in and growing? Learning is a continuous, lifelong journey, and there's always room to grow. And just because you're out of school does not mean that you should never read another book again. Right now,
Right.
you read different kinds of books.
Right.
And so but you continue to grow because you have a purpose. We all have a purpose in life. We're not accidents. I mean, we may have been unplanned, but we're not an accident. And
Right.
so
Right.
if you think about it, we all have a purpose to live. We all have something that an inspiration. You know, I always say we want to elevate your influence so that you can inspire others and have an impact on your community. And that's really what I do.
So the work that you're doing right now with today's professionals, you've touched on this a little, but let's really get granular about why this work is so important and what challenges or opportunities is the work you're doing today actively addressing?
Okay. It is important, I think, and I'm just going to come out there. This is Julie speaking. There's no research here. This is Julie. I believe that we have an obligation to train the next generation of leaders. And putting somebody through a leadership training course is one thing, but then really helping them to apply these skills is another thing, like conflict resolution, problem solving, critical thinking skills, communication, teaching people how to advocate for yourself, how to ask for help. Do you know that most people today are ashamed to ask for help?
Yeah, I believe it. I see it all the time. Yes.
Yeah, because there's a sense of, well, I should know this. I've been asked to do this, so I should know it. So we get on Google, we get on, our favorite AI, Chat GPT or whatever. We're trying to figure it all out. And that's great. And those are great resources. But then to go and communicate the solution to a problem, that's confidence that comes from inside. And this is what we have to work on, is what's inside, so that somebody understands how to advocate for themselves, how to ask for help. There's a lot of us out there who are saying, just do it, go be authentically you. And then when people are authentically you and they show up, not dressed appropriately, or they show up with an attitude of, they don't know how to say things, then they get cut down and criticized. Well, you didn't handle that very well. Well, you said be me. This is how I would handle it. So there has to be some growth, and so when we grow. I mean, I'm old. I've been doing this a very long time. I still learn every day. Like, how should I say this? What does that tone of voice need to sound like? What words should I choose? What should my facial expressions be? How can I impact this person sitting in front of me and impact them in a positive way, so that I help this situation be better, so that we both leave better than when we came into the room.
I love that. I love that. You called this the next generation of leaders, right? You're helping grow the next generation of leaders. What do you think is the number one challenge you see for that next generation of leaders right now?
Wow. Okay. I'm processing. There's a lot going on in my head right now. Okay. The problem, I think, first of all, is the confidence that even though they may be in their early 20s, they do have valuable input. So how then do they prove to somebody that their input is valuable? Because I think sometimes, and this is the human element, this is communication, right? They either come in really excited and they skirt the hierarchy and they don't do it correctly, and then they get pushed back, or they sit there quietly and they think in their head, oh, this would be great. They may share it outside of the room, and then somebody else comes in and says, hey, this is what we should do, and they're thinking, but that was my idea.
Yep.
you know
Yeah.
but you didn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you say it? And it's the interpersonal skills that really make the difference in someone's success. I mean, research shows this. But we can tell somebody what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell somebody, just go talk to somebody. But then when you get in there, if there's a personality, let's say that the person is shy and introverted, and then they're going into a person who's very busy and task oriented, and they're busy, and they make the person say, yeah, what is it that you need? The person is, well, I had an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, did you share it with so and so? And we just but we don't think about how we're communicating is affecting somebody else.
Yeah.
And so it really comes down to how we communicate with somebody. And it's like having children. You can't discipline each child the same way, usually, because they're different. They're human beings. You can't talk to somebody the same way at the office or in your house, your spouse. You can't talk to your boss the same way you might talk to your spouse.
Right. And
And
you have to learn
so
that.
you have to learn that. What's the best way to communicate with my spouse? What's the best way to communicate with my boss? Or how can I communicate, my needs? I teach the process communications model, which teaches the psychological and emotional needs of human beings. And so what we do is we teach them how to fulfill their needs, because you have to have your needs met,
Right.
in order to be successful. Because if your needs are not being met, then you go into distress.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody who's in distress cannot be productive. You can't have productive conversations.
Right.
I mean, you're because when I'm upset and you're upset, we're both in distress. Then it's just going to be that, they always say, put the shovel down, quit digging the hole. You have to
Yeah.
just stop. Just stop, take a break, and then come back and revisit. But if you understand, okay, this person needs to be talked to in this manner, this person needs to be talked to in this manner, and you can meet those needs, then you can have a productive conversation. But it's not taught. We don't really teach this.
No, we don't teach the soft skills. And, in my line of work, the soft skills are the important skills. They're the human skills. They're what
They
ultimately
yes.
are what allow us to show up as our
Yeah.
full selves, as the amazing humans we are.
You are speaking my language. So, and if you think about this, and if we can really focus on the next generation of leaders, think about companies who take on this type of training. So whether, and just say process communications model, because that's what I do. But let's say that you take this on and you say, I want everyone in my company to be trained in this so that we understand needs, we understand how to communicate with each other. Can you imagine what that does to your culture?
Right.
In the company.
Right.
And now
Yeah.
your employees feel heard, they feel seen, they feel valued. So now your employees are happier. So that means your clients are happier, which means the company overall is doing better. Your bottom line is better. You
Now you're
retain
speaking my
employees.
language. Yes.
Yeah.
You increase
Yeah.
happiness all around and everyone wins.
Yes.
And
Yes.
science says that over and over and over.
Over and over again. People need to feel seen and heard and valued so that they feel good. And then there's joy
Yes.
in going to work, because we are all meeting each other's needs, and we're working now together to meet our clients' needs. And now when our clients are happy, the company goals are being met. And so everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy. Okay.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part because this is
Okay.
where we get to jump into our time machines because you have yours parked right there, right? We're going to
Yep.
jump into our time machines.
Yep. Okay.
We're going to go to the year 2050 and
Okay.
everything you just talked about. Every company is doing this for their employees, and they are, everyone knows how to communicate their needs and how to communicate effectively with one another. And I
Mhm.
want you to tell me what that world looks like in the year 2050. What does work look like when everyone's functioning and acting in these ways for the best interest of all?
Well, what we have there is we probably have less traffic on the roads
I love it
because
already.
the people who need
Mm-hmm.
to have some space at home, which we do this now. We kind of hybrid workspaces, and some people get to work from home. But the people who need to work from home will be able to have some type of schedule that allows them the solitude time that they need. The people who need the technology then will be able to utilize that. The people who need to be or surrounded by people will be able to go and have a space that meets their needs,
Mm.
whether it's decorated and homey or whether it is functional. They'll have that. They'll have the group time together, which we are already doing that. A lot of companies are doing that right now. But in that, then there's no criticism. We don't need to criticize, and we don't need to blame shift. We don't need to blame,
Mm.
well, I didn't get that done because so and so wasn't in the office. Well, no, that person's home, but here's how we do this. There's no blame shifting. There's no people pleasing. There's no people going into distress saying, I'm not okay. But you're okay. So I'm going to stop the work that I'm doing to go help you because I feel like I'm not of value. So I'm going to help you so I can add value. People will feel valued. They'll feel seen and heard. We won't have the revolving doors in companies. We won't have people who come in and say, I'm just going to be here until it's time for a raise, and then I'm going to go look for my next job. We'll have a way for companies to fulfill those needs and keep employees there. And so when they do that, then we'll have companies who are stronger, companies who are willing to invest in this culture and to train this culture. We'll have onboarding programs that are not just 30 days or 90 days, but they go on, maybe for your first year or two, you're onboarded, because we're going to invest in you for a number of years to help you get to where you want to go. We'll have happier people. We'll have less gossip.
Mm. That goes back to that no criticism piece, right? Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. We won't have to have people, really saying, oh, did you hear this? Because that won't be an issue because people will feel so good about what they do that they're going to focus and work as that team to make sure that they're having the impact on the community, on the company, on their clients, that they need to.
And what does this current generation of leadership, they will be the leaders in this 2050 world. So what does leadership look like in 2050?
Well, I mean, leadership starts with people who have vision and ambition. Leadership understands that I have certain skills that are going to get me that way, but I need to surround myself with people who are different from me. I think
Mm.
any good leader, whether it was in the 1800s or if it's in 2050, you have to understand that if you have big visions, if you're a visionary,
Mm-hmm.
you have to surround yourself with people who can fill in the holes for you because we need people to help us.
Right.
So recognizing that, I love Jim Collins' Good to Great. It's an oldie but a goodie. Um, in that book, he talks about a level 5 leader. And one of the key aspects of a level 5 leader is that they are able to look in the mirror and take all, I'm sorry, not take all the credit, give away all the credit
Mm.
when times are good,
Hmm.
but take all the blame when times are not good.
Right.
That to me is a servant leader, that is someone that understands that it's going to take a team to get us to where we want to be. And if we want to be great, we can't really get there by ourselves.
Oh, I love that vision. I I think honestly that's what people crave in the here and now. Um,
Mhm.
and um, and we don't know how to get there. So my next question is gonna be, what is the roadmap for moving from today to that future vision, to that kind of leadership and collaboration and work style that you just described?
Well, I think doing what we're doing right now, getting our messaging out, because you and I are so aligned in our visions.
Yeah.
Having the conversations and getting it out there, um, surrounding ourselves with people who can fill in the holes for us
Mm,
and help get our messages out there. Really focusing, for me, it's focusing on the young professionals coming out of college and high school and arming them with these skills for themselves, and then teaching them how to use those skills to help others behind them.
mm, yep.
Because there are a lot of great companies and great leaders out there right now
Absolutely.
who are on board with what you and I say. Then there are those who are like, yeah, I don't really know, I believe that, which
Right.
is fine. But I think that as we go, that we just need to keep this message going. It's about, if you want to improve your life, I don't care if it's a relationship, if it is your work, I don't care if it's yourself. Um, you have to start by improving you.
Hmm.
And so you have to look in the mirror and say, what can I change in me that helps me be better for someone else? Because I can't control my boss. I can't control my spouse, or, I can't control the person that I'm seeing, or I can't control my children, but I can control myself. I
That's
control
right.
how I handle things. I can control my emotions.
Hmm.
And, when we start to look at ways that we can improve ourselves, whether it's reading a book for 20 minutes a day, or listening to a podcast, or doing something that's beneficial to us, maybe it's just sitting quietly and just listening to ourselves breathe and just kind of letting your mind wander, whatever that is. Change something that you're doing, do it consistently for 60 to 90 days, and then look at what the things that have changed for you.
I love it's all rooted in action, right? It's saying,
I'll read it.
what can
Yeah.
I do? What
Yeah.
can
What can
I
I do?
do here and now
Yeah.
to
We
get us
used
on
to ask, we used to ask the question, what comes first, attitude or behavior? And so, to me, that's a circle.
Yeah.
Because you can wake up and say, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go. But then when you take the action to go to the
Yep.
gym, then your attitude is, I'm so glad I went. I feel better. I mean, whoever said, I'm so sad that I went to the gym this morning and worked
Right.
out. I shouldn't have
Right.
done that. Nobody ever said that, because even if you go to the gym for 10 or 15 minutes, you can get some stuff done in 10 or 15 minutes.
Well, and you'll
Um,
absolutely increase your endorphin count, like, no matter what you do. So
yeah,
you're already going to leave happier no matter
yeah,
what. Your brain's just doing that for
that's
you.
right. So the action can affect your attitude, and then your attitude then can affect your actions. So it's a circle.
And it becomes self-fulfilling too, right? Because your attitude motivates your actions, which affects your attitude, and it just keeps going and going
Yep.
in whatever direction you choose for it to go, right?
In
If there is
whatever,
no
yes.
action, it just stops.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so since we need action, we need attitude and action, attitude and
Yes.
behavior.
Okay.
Recognizing that we all, every single one of us on the face of this beautiful earth, have the power to co-create a future that we want for ourselves and that benefits all of us.
Mm-hmm.
What actions can our listeners take today or this week, really, really soon, to help us move closer to this future vision of more collaborative workspaces, more engaging and empathetic leadership, more understanding overall?
I would say get to know yourself. Take an assessment like the PCM assessment, or there's lots of them, DISC or whatever, and really study at who you are and get to know you. How do you communicate? What happens? What do you do when you go into distress?
Mm,
And start learning how you can keep yourself from going into distress. Because once you start focusing, I always say this is your fruit bowl right here, like because in the scriptures they talk about the fruit of the spirit. So I say
yeah.
that's right here, like this is your fruit bowl. So when you start protecting your fruit and you keep it ripe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that right now you're a mom and you are living in chaos. I mean, laundry is on the couch. It's easier for you to go to Walmart at 10 o'clock at night and buy the kids new underwear than it is for you to try to wash underwear. I mean, it's just
Right.
you there's no groceries in the house. You're trying to get lunches and breakfast. You're trying to do the work. You're trying to do everything, and you are in chaos. Okay, so you're in stress. So now chaos, you need to move towards peace. So,
Right.
what can you do this weekend to take a day to say, I'm going to move closer to peace? Which means that kids, we're not going anywhere this weekend. We're doing laundry. You
Right.
know, we're going to order groceries online because I don't have time to go to the grocery
Right.
store. And I'm going to do some meal planning. I'm going to plan out 3 meals. I don't know. And we're going to get our life in order.
Right. And in
And
order
you
to do
take
that, you have to start with the self-reflection piece.
That's right. You have to say, what can I do?
Hmm.
And then I'm going to stay at home Saturday night. We're going to celebrate. Our friend Suzanne would say this. We're going to do this on Saturday, and then we're going to celebrate with
Celebrate.
pizza and a movie at night.
That's right.
And we're going to say, I feel so much better because we got something done. And now my week will be more peaceful. And now, because once you start losing peace,
Mm-hmm.
then your joy is gone, and then your kindness is gone, and your gentleness is gone. All of those fruit of the spirits
Mm.
they're gone. The
Yeah.
fruit of the spirit is gone.
Yeah.
And so you want to protect that. And so now you're protecting your thoughts, and you're like, I did something positive. And so your words are different, your actions are different, and now you bring about a better destiny because what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
That's right. Where your attention goes, your energy flows.
that's right.
I always love the celebration at the end. I think every time you do something in the direction of your dream or your vision or where you want to go, you have to stop and celebrate because
Yep,
it sets off a chemical reaction. It sets off that dopamine hit
it
that
does.
says that felt really good. Let's do it again. And it makes
Yeah,
the next step even
yeah,
easier because your brain is more motivated to do it.
right. Right. But do you hear what you're saying too? Is you're doing something to do your goal. So you're doing
Mhm.
the work and you're
Right.
rewarding yourself for the work. We're
Absolutely.
not just saying, I'm just going to celebrate all the time. It's, I'm going to accomplish something and then I'm going to reward myself for the accomplishment. And
Right.
that, I think that's a big difference.
And it goes back to that piece of we all have the agency and we all have the ability and are completely capable of designing the life we want, of creating the
Mhm.
future we want. And that
Mhm.
future, whether it's peace, whether it's better working relationships, whether it's better leadership, that future that we want
Mhm.
requires those little goals and little, it requires the work. It
It
requires the
requires the
work.
work. That's right. It does. So this is awesome. I love how we are so aligned with
I do
everything.
too. I do too. Well, this has been so much fun. I love the work you're doing. It is so super important. I know it, you know, affects greatly all the people you work with from an individual level to a company level. But it also, as you were talking, you said, I want to teach them the skills so that they can teach other people. This is a generational thing. This is a whole community thing, and I think that's where the power is in the work that we're doing and how we design a future for human flourishing.
Yeah, totally. And thank you for that. I love the work that you're doing as well. And know that I'm a fan. And anytime you need my help, you just reach out.
Oh, I
I'm here.
absolutely will. I will. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your vision with us, and with all the listeners. And um, I just encourage everyone to go off and do some of that inner reflective work. Go do an assessment, get to know yourself a little better, how you
Mhm.
communicate, how you show up when, on your best days and on your worst days,
Mhm.
because all of that is data that helps us move into creating the life we want for ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me on today. This has been so fun.
It
So
has been a
thank you. I
blast.
appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Thank you. You too. Thanks.